we've decided to turn this flower bed into another food-producing garden bed. So stay tuned for the makeover, folks. I'm gonna show you how we manage this, how we prep it, the soil amendments, the whole deal from A to Z, how we get this ready to plant in ASAP. You gardeners already know we need more and more room for growing, right? So this is close to our driveway, we had a flower bed here. I've already begun the process of pulling out plants. Why did I pull out plants? I'm happy you asked. So being that this is near our home and our driveway, we think about toxins. In my opinion, not enough gardeners consider toxins enough. So exhaust fumes, any possible chemicals that are used near our home, like cleaning agents, maybe oil spills, fuel, whatever. When you are growing close to your homes, consider toxins. Actually, everywhere you grow, think about toxins, folks. So a lot of people, when they talk about regenerative growing methods, when they talk about mitigating toxins, they're short-sighted. They say, grow sunflowers, grow comfrey, grow biodynamic accumulators to remove the toxins from the soil. And then they chop and drop said plants, which just puts the toxins back onto the soil surface and back where they started. We don't want to do that. We want to mine the toxins out and pull them out, starting off fresh, and hopefully with a growing medium that has less toxins than it started, okay? So I'm gonna continue to pull this out. What we're gonna do is we're gonna fix our caveman garden. Please check out our previous videos discussing our caveman gardening techniques. Maybe expand a little bit, more room, more room, more room. And we wanna focus on building up the level of topsoil. We intend on growing, being that this is close to our home, kind of like a grocery garden bed, okay? Lots of greens like salad mixes, kale, and maybe some brassicas, different things like that. So relatively shallow rooted plants. So we don't need a lot of soil, but we definitely want to try to get up to at least 6 inches of soil for those roots to reach down deep, pull up the water and nutrients to make them healthy. And yeah, I'm gonna get back to it, folks. Stay tuned for the next step. All right, folks, so I'm about to pull out the last of the plants. Remember, I am removing these plants to get rid of any possible toxins that have been mined out from them. Now, there's probably not much in here. We're pretty crunchy people. We live a low toxin lifestyle, but I'm okay with whatever toxins being over there. Not okay with them being where we're growing food. So this is pretty well cleaned up, folks. And now the next step is I'm going to add some things to build up the level of the soil, add organic matter, and just get a lot of nutrients in place for our plants. So there's so many different things you can use for this. Now I'm going to be adding some compost. I haven't gotten that ready yet. However, I do have some clean out from our chicken brooder. This is essentially compost material in great ratio, is already ready to go. I've got pine shavings here, plenty of chicken manure, okay? Whatever leftover food the chickens did not eat. Great carbon, great nitrogen, great macro and micronutrients, minerals and trace minerals. I've also got some rabbit manure. This stuff is absolutely amazing. You can use this directly on your plants, by the way. It's not too hot, as in it doesn't have too much nitrogen. It's not going to burn your plants like this rose bush here. I'm spreading all this stuff out, okay? Now, you don't want to add just compost when you're building soil. Building soil is, adding compost is great to build soil and improve your soil, but compost is not soil, okay? Compost lacks the structure, the soil aggregates that real soil has. You know, clay, silt, loam, sand, those soil types. So what I'm going to do in an effort to actually build soil instead of just building up the soil from compost and organic matter is I'm going to be adding more minerals. You can use rock dust, wood ash is great, crumbled eggshells, crumbled seashells of any kind, oyster shells, mussel shells, clam shells. Please check out our previous video about using seafood shells for your garden, okay? Things like that. You want particulate matter. I could add some sand, okay? Now keep in mind, after I'm done adding all this stuff, I'm going to be tilling it in. Now before the no-till people start wanting to beat me up, hear me out. I have argued many times, I think correctly, that there is a time and a place in certain contexts for tilling. I recommend, especially if if it's virgin ground, okay? If you're not really sure what's in your soil, give it a till. At the very least, you might find garbage, plastics, petroleum-based products, things like that you want to get out of your growing area. So no-till is ideal. We use no-till methodology. In some places, sometimes we do give it a till 1 or 2 times in an effort to get garbage out of that area, or possible garbage out of the area, and to start off with a relatively uniform mixture. I say start off because something a lot of gardeners don't talk about is when you're starting out with a back to Eden method, okay, regenerative methods, no-till methods, density matters. If I have clay and sand and silt and loam and organic matter, what happens is after heavy rains or after rains for a period of time, they will settle. Your clay will settle and your softer, lighter stuff will be on top, okay? It might take 1, 2, 3, 4 years of a no-till method to actually, when you're leaving roots in the ground, for example, to actually get a uniform mixture on its own. Now, by tilling, I am destroying mycorrhizae, fungi, microbiology, bacteria, protozoa populations, disturbing them. However, soil microbiology multiplies fast. Some of them in like 20 or 30 minutes, they double in population, all right? So a few hours from now, okay, once we water this in, we already will have the soil microbiology populations growing, okay? In a few days, a few weeks, the fungi and everything will start to build their networks, build up their populations, and then we'll be in a great place. Before this has a chance to settle into different layers, okay, from the soil itself and the amendments, the additives, okay, before it has a chance to settle, we will have roots in ground. Roots in ground, once we chop and drop, leaving the roots in place, or once we just push them over or whatever, those roots will act as pathways for earthworms, oxygen, and water to migrate into the soil. And it prevents that layering process from happening. We don't have to till because the earthworms and the pill bugs and the life in the soil will actually be mixing it up for us, okay? But we want to start off with something that's relatively uniform, so I will give this a light tilling to begin with. I'm not going too deep, I'm just kind of spreading this out. And we did extend this bed out, we made it a little bigger, so I'm gonna make sure that I'm working that new area, okay? I did leave some roots in place because, again, once I had the soil amendments and I finished adding this stuff, I don't want it just to settle into different layers, and those roots will help prevent that. Also, adding texture, larger pieces, partially broken down compost, whole pieces of mussel shells, oyster shells, seafood shells, chunks of egg shells will offer a variety of texture, which will help water movement. If you have a homogeneous uniform mixture, you might get compaction more easily, and the water might not migrate into your soil the way that you'd like. So have some things in your soil that hold water and some things in your soil that water can move freely through, like larger components. So I'm gonna till this out, maybe add some potting soil just to get some more wood chips in here, okay? And the vermiculite, whatever else is in the potting soil. I might harvest some forest floor native soil to inoculate this even further with beneficial soil microbiology. Over time, we will build this layer of soil upwards, okay? And the faster we get planted in this, the better, being that we have tilled it. If you do till, you want to plant as soon as possible after tilling. That will help prevent those separation of layers and the compaction. Very important detail, folks. It's generally recommended to not till wood chips into your soil because as the wood chips break down, they can hold up and hold on to way too much nitrogen, robbing nitrogen from the roots of your plant. So that's not a good thing. I just want to point out the pine shavings that we use from our chicken brooder clean out were already partially broken down. Plus, we've added so much nitrogen to this, including coffee grounds, in case I did not mention that before, and with the chicken manure and everything else, that will mitigate, the additional nitrogen will mitigate any possible issues with holding nitrogen. You can also, as long as you have clean urine, okay, don't use any urine from anyone who is taking pharmaceuticals, any drugs or anything like that. Clean urine in limited amounts, watered down, is a great way to hit your soil, and also it's a great catalyst for a compost. Hit your soil or your compost with a boom, a big shot of nitrogen, okay? Urine is nitrogenous waste. So I might do that. However, this area, we've already spread enough urine out, and you don't want to add too much urine because the salt in urine can cause a problem. Use urine sparingly, and just use it like once every 3 to 6 months, 1 or 2 times max in an area, okay? So now we are at the most important point, folks, and that is make sure you water it in. Microbiology, a lot of it is, it's like semi-aquatic. So they're going to thrive in an aquatic environment, in a moist environment, okay? So it's very important, especially when you're coming out of winter, or as you head into winter, a way to wake up your microbiology is to water the soil. Some people only water their gardens when they have plants growing there. You don't want to just water plants, you want to water your soil. So the microbiology will wake up and come out of its spore form and start doing microbiology stuff, making those nutrients bioavailable for your plants. So I'm going to water this in, and what do you think, folks? Does it look good? I'm sweating, as you can see, all right? Hot day, but we got to get it done. Keep on going, keep on growing, and stay tuned to see what we grow in this garden bed. Take care, everybody.